Welcome to the Real Estate Show on KMED. March 22nd of 2014. Pete Belcaster and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, with you here today. And hope you're going to have a good weekend up. The weather's certainly going to be beautiful. I did say one thing. Well, while I was gone, I was at the coast and we were in Portland doing different things this last few weeks. And I did notice that Jackson County commissioners declared a drought emergency for our county.
Yep.
I've been saying this is going to be happening and all the things. I hope there's a lot of people out taking that Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District class of how to deal with drought on your farm or ranch, because it is coming. I mean, we're going to all feel it in many ways, from higher food prices to water restrictions, recreation limitations, et cetera, as a result of this. So
the Northern Cascades got some snowpack out of the last series of storms. We're not getting that snowpack down here.
We're getting nothing.
That's the
we're not
problem.
getting anything. Anyway, well, welcome to the show today. Hey, on a brighter note, Bob Gervais is here. He's the principal broker and owner of RE/MAX Ideal Brokers and one of our great guys here on the Real Estate Show. Nice to see you. How are you doing, by the way?
Good morning, everybody. I'm doing great, Pete.
Yeah? This is spring break?
Oh, I just love this weather. We live in a great place.
It really is beautiful. I have to say, my doggies, everything. The coast was beautiful. We do live in a great place. That's really true.
Driving from the coast down the Umpqua River back into the Rogue Valley yesterday, there's not a stretch that's just not gorgeous and beautiful.
And the flowers on the trees,
it's
blooming.
Makes your nose itch as all those kind of things come up around as well. Anyway, and Bob has brought today Kristen Paulson, who's the technology coordinator out at RE/MAX Ideal Brokers. And Kristen, nice to have you here. You got to talk right into that microphone there.
Good morning.
Nice to have you here as well. So you work with Bob, is that right? Is that what you do? Tell me what you do there at RE/MAX.
Well, what I do is I help the agents to use technology so they can meet their clients' needs. Technology has changed quite a bit over the course of the last decade, and it's something that, like it or not, agents find themselves tied to their cell phones and tied to their computers more than they used to be, and I kind of act like a translator. I help them to figure out how to get along with their computers and
not to throw things at them or throw the
say
computer.
bad words.
I've been there a year now, and no one has thrown a single thing.
Well, I have to say, I learned to use bad language in my life. The first time I ever did, and I started there, was having to develop black and white film in the TV studios that I used to work back in the long time ago, 40 years ago.
16 millimeter film.
16 millimeter film we had to develop, and it wouldn't work. Anyway, that's where I learned to not. My mommy would be very upset at me. Anyway, so technology certainly is there as well. Bob, what was technology in the real estate world? People, what is this? 95%, I think, of the people who search for homes start online, right? Isn't that
I think it's a little less
number.
than that, but it's
in the 90s.
Back in the early 90s, in late 80s, where I started the real estate business, I was high tech with a vibrating pager and a cell phone the size of a car.
Yeah.
And we used microfilm, and all the information was protected. They used to put out a book every 2 weeks and that sort of thing.
That was the MLS book.
That was the MLS book.
And it was printed.
And it was printed.
It was printed.
And, the MLS was the gatekeeper. You couldn't get that information unless you came through an agent. Now, all of that information is readily available on several websites that you can do searching on. We as a company, I think we have at least 3 or 4 or 5 websites. Plus, all of our agents have their own website. So it's changed a great deal, and I've learned that if you're going to be successful in any business, you need to be in front of the curve. You need to lean into the change instead of sitting back and waiting to see what happens. And I just got back from the RE/MAX International Convention in Las Vegas. We had about 7,000 RE/MAX agents from all over the world. And one of the keynote speakers was a fellow that you guys would recognize, Magic Johnson. And most people don't know it, but he's a very, very successful business guy.
Yes,
I know him as Irvin, but go ahead.
You knew him as Irvin. Yeah, you're funny. No, he's absolutely successful businessman. Absolutely.
When he got into basketball, he wanted to be a business guy, and so he went to Starbucks, and he was the first guy to put Starbucks in the inner city.
Okay.
And he listened to his clients. In other words, instead of listening to elevator music, they had kind of a little bit more Motown music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, and the key to the whole comment was you have to know your customer. For us as a real estate firm, our customer is our agent, and our agent's customer is their buyer or seller. So along with the change, we are probably dealing with the most sophisticated real estate buyer or seller in the history of home purchase and sales in the United States. I mean, they are smart.
All right. When you, back in the 80s, when you were doing this 30-some years ago, then buyers came to you because they didn't really know much out there, was it? Unless it was in the newspaper or somebody. I mean,
well, in the laws, oh my goodness, when I first came up here, my earnest money contract was 2 pages. One half a page was print, and the rest were lines. Now we got, when our file gets done, it's about 2 inches thick with all the various forms and changes in the law and that sort of thing. So,
yeah. Well, all right, Kristen Paulson, tell me. Well, here's how it works to me. Like a company like RE/MAX is a international company. And there's the RE/MAX websites, but then there's a back end to these websites. And this is what was it called? RE/MAX.net, isn't that what it was called? I mean, and that's for agents to sign in and go to. And there's a whole world among those back ends of those amazing websites. So every agent has that. Is that what that is? That's where we start.
Absolutely, and
a little closer. There you go.
It gives them a variety of different methods to get a hold of their customers, to meet their customers' needs in different ways. For instance, if you were someone and I was selling your home, I would be able to set up these wonderful reports that went to you once a week so that you could see what's similar to your house is selling. It would be a great place for us to start talking about whether your home was priced correctly. You would be able to see, if it's a rural place, that rural places just aren't selling very quickly right now. So it's probably going to be more time than you were thinking.
That you're going to send to me as a buyer, correct?
And it goes out automatically, and it gives a wonderful variety of information.
As a seller.
As a seller. And then if you're a buyer, I'm able to set up the same kind of thing for you so that as a buyer, you're able to see that these are the kind of houses that are selling. This is what is available in the area you're looking at in your price range. And while you can set it so that goes out automatically, what it is to keep a constant contact going between the client and the real estate broker. It makes it so that we don't have to constantly be on the phone for you to know the status of either your home purchase or your home sale.
And does it take a lot to set it up? That's the thing that the agents then have to do. Somebody has to set that up and make those parameters and put that information in, right?
Well, I go through with each agent and I sit with them side by side to teach them how. And they're able to see whether or not this is something they're comfortable with, and is this something that actually fits within their business. Each thing that happens on RE/MAX.net, I sit there with the agent the first time and go through it with them. And we were talking about training, and we had originally started out with doing training classes, but with talking to the agents, what they really need is for me to sit with them side by side, go through it with them. The first time they watch me, and then I watch them and give them advice and tips and tricks, and they get to decide what they want in their technological toolkit. And that way, it's their business. They can decide start to finish what they want to do.
Because
the contact is very, very difficult right now as compared to the way it used to be. I mean, we were very social. We walked and bumped into people and so on and so forth. But nowadays, at home, you've got call blocking, and then you go to work, and then you come home, and the garage door opens, and the garage door closes, and you go in, but there's no verbal communication there. So we've had to transition from the way we communicated, which is a lot of one-on-one basis, to be able to communicate through this technology that information that these folks want.
Well, and I just think in dealing with buyers right now, even they're at work all day, both of them, and I'm running around, and it takes a good half hour to really cull through the new listings that come on each day in the morning and in the afternoon. And new listings are really coming now. The inventory is coming this spring, but you've got the computer's working for you. It's got criteria plugged into it in price range, bed and bath, lot size. Every time a new item comes up in your area, boom, it's in your email. So you and the buyer are getting at information instantaneously, the new listings on the market, without having to watch it like a hawk, which is part of what we do, but it's hard to do that. Whenever you can get that technology to work for you and your clients, while you're out doing all the other things that you have to do, then you're ahead of the game, and that information, they get to peek at it, then you get the calls that, hey, this looks like the one, and we're in first in line to get out there and see.
Now, those, you're talking about property tracker systems. I mean, there's keeping track of properties, okay? Now, the difference, and this is what I tell clients, okay, and this is true now, is that the information that I'm sent, that's coming from the property tracker, okay, whether Remax.net or any, the local things like that it is much more up to date than the Zillows and the what are the other ones? Zillow and Trulia's and everything else that's out there, because by the time it gets to those, and if I'm only following those and not from what I can get, that those properties, how many times I have had clients, I found this on Zillow, and okay, well, and we've sent things, we found this one, and it's already either been pending or it's gone because, is that right? Is that right?
It's more than that. Their evaluation of houses can be off big time. For example, I had a client call me up and said, "Oh, Bob, I'm so excited. I found my house on Zillow and it's worth $450,000. Well, I only sold it to you a year ago for $200,000. That's pretty good." Well, what happened was, in the evaluation of their property, Zillow had taken 4 or 5 properties. 4 of them were all residential, and a block away was a commercial building that sold for $800,000, and then they average them out.
Kind of screw that one around, yeah.
It didn't work. Yeah. No, it's not worth $400,000.
Yeah, so we're not going to list it for that right now.
But you talked about valuation, but Kristen, what about just the information itself?
Well, and that's one of the most important points. You're talking about things like Zillow and Trulia, where it's that readily available information. But it's not very good information. It's not very solid information. And it's the kind of thing where that's one of the things that you absolutely need a qualified and experienced real estate agent to go through with you. I have gone through Zillow estimates on properties where the numbers that they come up with are so completely different than the numbers that our experienced agents come up with. It ends up being incredibly frustrating for the agents when people look to sell their homes and they come to them with a Zestimate that is maybe 2, sometimes 3 times what the property is actually worth.
It can be way off. And the other things those sites cannot factor in are the local market conditions. Look at the surge we're having in inventory. Look at the rise overall for Jackson County and property values over the last year, and how that's playing out in each specific neighborhood. And we talk to our fellow agents, and we know the specifics of why a neighborhood may be hot or why it may be languishing a little bit. Some of those real subtleties that you just could not figure out with just a blanket formula, throwing in a few comps that you pull out of the air like they are wont to do, or like their formulas.
It's like the local information is going to be coming from the local source is going to be quicker, it's going to be faster, it's going to be more accurate than it's going to come in from the national one-size-fit-all. We glean information from any public source that we can find. I mean, there's a big difference there, and that's why I'm saying that some. So can I go on as a buyer or a seller, even, Kristen, onto the Remax, the Ideal Broker site, and sign up myself for any kind of that type of information, or do I need to have a broker to make that information come to me?
No, you don't. Absolutely, you're able to go onto our website and you do a search for the area that you're looking at, and you save that search, and you can ask it to send you alerts. You are the driver. You are able to tell it how much you want to be contacted, whether you want to be contacted by an agent directly. Do you want to have weekly notifications? Do you want to have daily notifications?
And how much of that is used? I mean, do you get a lot of that? I mean,
quite a bit, actually.
Quite a bit of traffic.
Well, you can build a house with a pneumatic hammer or a regular one you swing with your hand. It's clearly up to you.
Yeah.
If you want to use the tool, it's going to benefit you.
You're going to get some blisters.
Well, I'd rather go on the local site than I would on those. I guess that's my point there, that I really would rather do that. And idealbrokersinc.com would get me there to do it.
Well, and what we do quite a bit at Ideal Brokers is that we adapt and we use the tools of the national company in a local manner. And so what that means is that our search and our back end and our infrastructure, that is provided by RE/MAX Corporate. That way we can take advantage of their very good programmers that do very, very good work. But it's all in a local manner. If you say you want to talk to someone, you're going to be talking to someone from our office, not someone from Colorado.
Yeah, and agents, are they embracing this technology, do you think? I mean, I look over here to my partner here, Joe, and he's a big tech guy, actually. He's really pretty good at it, but
let's just say that
anyway,
I have my own page that's fresh and new and much more up to date since Kristen came along and
is that
started
right?
to let that help. So
well,
it's been
good
it's been
for
a
you.
big
I've been
difference,
trying to get him to do this stuff for years and nothing.
We're working on it.
Good for you. All right. Real Estate
Work in
Show here on
progress.
March 22nd of 2014. Pete and Joe, the Real Estate Guys, with you. We're with Bob Gervais and Kristen Paulson from RE/MAX. We're coming right back after this. The Real Estate Show rolls on KMED for March the 22nd of 2014. Pete Belcaster and Joe Brett, the Real Estate Guys, with you here today. Hope you're going to have a good weekend. Next Saturday, by the way, Laurel Adams, our resident expert in property management, will be with us, and we'll get an update there. I can't wait to hear what's going on there. You know what I mean? The vacancy rate is like less than 3%, and rents are going up, and all sorts of new rules go into effect. And I love talking with her. And so she'll be with us along with us next Saturday here on the Real Estate Show. 2 weeks from today, it'll be the KMED auction on April the 5th. We'll be back with you on April the 12th with the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District. And also coming up, Joe, we got a show on Aging in Place with Sharon and Howard Johnson. Who were well with Sharon was an OSU extension agent for many years and
age-friendly innovation.
Age-friendly innovation, and they'll be here to talk about aging in place. And even in the MLS, I can't believe this actually got through, but there's now a section that you can mark on your boxes. Is the home certified as an aging in place home? Right. Which for many people, we want you to stay in your home as long as you can before you leave. It cuts down on all sorts of social costs around this country, and so they'll be with us
or when it
in
comes
April.
Time to downsize, to be wary of the fact you can purchase these age-ready homes. They'll be out there waiting for you and ready for all that.
And there's a lot of baby boomers like us who will be retiring soon for the next 20 years at $10,000 a day. So, wow, that's a lot. Anyway, we're with Bob Gervais and Kristen Paulson from RE/MAX Ideal Brokers today on the Real Estate Show, talking about technology, how that's changing real estate and everything else in the world, that's for sure. But Bob told me something that I did not know, that your company is a paperless. You're all paperless. Is that true? I mean, you really? I didn't know that.
Well, we still have copiers, but
okay.
But because we still need to make flyers and that sort of thing. But our files are paperless. We actually scan them in to a paperless pipeline, and we manage the transaction through that paperless pipeline. And then when it comes to storing, these files are stored on a disk versus a box of files, reducing the need, because as you know, we have to keep them stored for
was it 7 years?
7 years.
7 years.
I had 3 garages full of files, and little by little, those garages are getting empty.
So you can store, instead of having the actual paper copies, you're saying you can store them onto a disk now in the future. No. Warehouse space just went down in price all over the state, all over because that's interesting. I didn't know that.
And not only that, you could take in your communication log, which we're required to keep on transactions. We can use text and that sort of thing, and basically transfer those as from our phones or whatever right into the paperless pipeline and control that side of it too. So again, technology has really, really changed, and it really makes a difference in how we do business.
I think one of the coolest maps that I like are the maps that a person can go on. And Chris, I know you got the same thing on the RE/MAX Idealbrokersinc.com, but you can go on and actually go into neighborhoods and see what's in a neighborhood. People can do searches so much easier on the local sites like that. I think than any other site that are out there. Correct or not?
Well, and by and large, the agents use the map search because in some areas, your zip codes are absolutely worthless. I have a Grants Pass zip code, even though I live about 15 miles out of town. It's simply because the mail truck starts off in Grants Pass, I have that zip code. So searching by zip code is pretty useless when it comes to something like that. If you want a property out in my area, there's 3 different zip codes that are all kind of mishmashed around there. Really, the map search ends up being very useful for people because you know the neighborhoods that you want to live in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's really neat about it is you put in the basic criteria, bedrooms, bathrooms, price range, and it shows you these little icons. You just click on one and you see a picture of the front of the house. Yeah. You see the basic information right there.
What about mobile stuff?
Oh, absolutely.
Mobile apps, okay?
You can do exactly the same thing from your phone.
From my iPhone.
Exactly. And it ends up being wonderful for the agents. Each of our agents, in addition to having a website, they, of course, have a mobile website. The beautiful thing about that is if I'm on Joe's site, there's a little phone icon up in the corner where I touch it and I'm instantly calling him. And I can talk to him about the specific properties that I've seen, places that I've seen and absolutely fallen in love with. If you're driving around a neighborhood and you decide this is the neighborhood that I want to live in, you go on the RE/MAX app and you put in your criteria and say, find houses that are near me right now where I am. I don't have to know what street I'm on. The phone figures that out for me and gives me a list of everything that meets my needs.
I think that is what I use probably more than anything else, or the mobile app on my phone when I'm with clients, many times out in the field, and we're looking at those same things and what else is in the neighborhood that may have missed, come on, that all of a sudden is there, right?
And last weekend after we showed houses, Michael and Carolina were out looking up their own, pulling up their own, and found the other one that we're working on now. So, very, very efficient. And your clients are out there in that neighborhood. They've looked at a couple of houses there, and instantaneously they can see what else is just around that quarter-mile radius. Is really helpful for them. They do a couple drive-bys, helps to eliminate a couple that we might have gone to look at otherwise, and it really helps them narrow down.
By the way, 770-5633 is our number for our live show here at 10 o'clock this morning on KMED. If you got a question for Bob or Kristen or even Joe, we're certainly answer any
or
of
even
them.
Joe.
Well, someone may want to know how
I would ask Bob first if I had my brothers.
Anyway, for our live show, you're certainly welcome to do that. What's next? I mean, I don't know what in the world. My big complaint, and you all have heard me say this, that there's so much technology out there, and what do you use? You're an agent. What makes sense? What doesn't make sense? Social media, Bob. Where is that the newest thing? What's the latest thing that I guess that people may experience that agents are going to be kind of?
Well, most companies now have their own Facebook. We have our own Facebook.
Everyone,
Then you have your own individual business or personal Facebook, and it's used fairly extensively. YouTube videos, too, are pretty popular for homes, where you can take your phone, for example, and stand in front of a house that you just listed and then film yourself with a house in the back. Hey, guys, I just got this brand new 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. It's
but how much is too much? Now, how much is too much, right? Isn't that the question?
I think that it's up to the clients to answer. How much do they want and need,
Well, and it's also up to the agents to answer how much do they feel that they need. Depending on the area that you're in, if the inventory is incredibly tight, maybe you don't need to do the different video walkthroughs and whatnot. But it's up to the agent to decide how much marketing emphasis do they want to put on each individual property.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
and each property is different. It's nice to have those options.
You don't want to be a stealth agent, buddy.
No. I
flying under the radar.
You got to stand out amongst the crowd. You hear those things, and to do that is intimidating with all the technology that is out there, and what makes sense. You're right, Kristen. What makes sense for that particular agent? But the bottom line, what's still the bottom line over all this stuff? At the end, what does it take? It still takes personal contact and personal relationship and personal interaction to really move anything forward. The technology is great, and it does all sorts of things, and you can play with it for hour after hour after hour. But in the end, you still have to talk to somebody, and somebody's got to fill out the final forms.
There's still a very human element that's involved.
You still have to have somebody.
There's so many
there
things that could go wrong. Remember one show we did, which I handed you 3 single type pages and stuff that goes wrong after you go into escrow, and that's what you need. You need somebody to watch out for that.
Yeah, well, and you're doing that, and that's what you have agents
that's how the role
for.
of the agents has changed with technology, insofar as it's not so hard to get your clients to find that home. They're able to do that themselves now. Now you're in contract, and now that expertise, the teamwork, the team you have working for you all through the process really comes into play.
Yeah, and I think one of the neatest things about what was in our technology world here, but is that RE/MAX University, they have these great places you can go for learning. I mean, endless hours of training,
live webinars.
They're really neat.
Yeah,
they're fabulous websites, but that's what you pay those things for. You guys got to pay for all that stuff. Anyway, we're going to talk about the market with Bob. What's happening? April is the busiest month. We're going to talk about the market in Jackson County on our final segment here in the Real Estate Show coming up next. Don't you dare go away. We're coming right back right after this from KMED. The Real Estate Show on KMED continues for March 22nd, 2014. Next week, don't forget, Laurel Adams from All Cities Property Management will be here. We've got a TV show coming up next on April the 8th. It'll be a Market Watch. Bob will be on there, and also the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District. Be sure to check out jswcd.org, their website, for those classes that are coming up this spring on pastures and managements and all sorts of things, because it's going to be an interesting summer.
How excited are you?
What?
That the Oregon Ducks and the Oregon State Beavers are playing in the NCAA basketball tournament this weekend.
I don't care.
Well, go Ducks today, but the Beaver women are playing tomorrow at 5 o'clock.
It's amazing to me what excites you.
I just think it's exciting to say the Beavers and Ducks are in the NCAA tournament, and you just throw the men's and women's out. Because the Beaver men didn't make the cut.
It amazes me what you get excited over. I don't know. Isn't that Bob Gervais, RE/MAX principal broker owner from RE/MAX Ideal Brokers is here, and Kristen Paulson, who's the technology coordinator at RE/MAX, is here. Well, what's the newest thing? What's to be the latest thing? I guess that RE/MAX is coming up that you're hearing down the pipeline. You heard at the convention, whatever.
We can't tell you.
Yes, you can tell. I mean, like, is it going to be like some? Well, I can't even imagine. Technology, what that might be.
Well, what's happening in technology is it's becoming so much more user-friendly.
Yeah, okay.
As time goes on, it gets so much easier. I have agents who have absolutely no idea what web code is, but they're able to create their own websites. They're able to create special search pages so that if they want to have a search page that's on Ashland homes that are high-end homes, I show them how to do it, and they absolutely can do it. It's really about the democratization of technology. It's putting it in the hands of the people that are actually going to use it so that you can decide how you want it to operate instead of someone who is brilliant at writing code deciding how you need to have it work.
Well, whatever Bob is paying you, it's not enough. Okay, whatever he's paying you to teach real estate brokers what you're supposed to be teaching them, it's not enough. Okay, you just give her a raise right now, and then we'll be good, right? Anyway, talking about the market. I mean, Bob, here we are. March 22nd is spring break. April's here. What do you tell us about what you see the market doing?
I think we see a market that is finally coming back to quote unquote a normal market, albeit the prices are still substantially less than they were in 2005. At least the pattern is beginning to fall back in. The appreciation, say about 5% per year. The months are getting busy, and typically April 15th, I target myself as when the market really starts to move forward. Get sunny, get blue skies, beautiful trees, flowers start coming up, birds are singing, and your days are longer, and you don't have to go tripping through the. Yeah, I mean it's just
what about inventory coming in to RE/MAX? I mean, I think you told me one day this week, and I used 53 new listings came on the MLS. Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's when people put the property back on the market for those very reasons. Typically, you'll try to sell during the winter, and your client says, "Let's wait till the spring," and because you're going to get a little bit more activity That doesn't mean you shouldn't list your house in the winter time, because we do have sales there, but this is when it starts to take off, and it'll continue upward move until probably right around September, October, when the kids are in school, and it gets around Thanksgiving, and it kind of shuts down by 30% roughly.
I wonder if the drought is going to have any effect, because we're going to obviously over the entire West Coast. I mean, it's not just here. If that's going to have an effect, weather does have an effect. Look what happened to real estate. Imagine if you were in the East and you had 18 feet of snow, and you're buried, and who's going to buy a house? You can't even see it.
Watch your grocery bill in the coming weeks and months, and
they
see
definitely,
what the drought and those conditions.
So it's going to have an effect, and I don't know how much of an effect that may have. I mean, it's going to have something along the line. Hopefully, not a lot. But
interest rates are still holding, and there's still some good programs out there.
But right now, a lot of inventory is coming back on the market, and so people who have looked, and there are many buyers out there, so we're going to see some activity. We're going to see a lot more activity, a lot more showings, which will always be good, right? I mean, isn't that what that is?
You got a big market of first-time home buyers still, and people that went through foreclosure or short sale that now have waited that time period that they can come back into the market and buy. So we're starting to see those kind of individuals come back in.
Yeah, and those are savvy buyers. They're poised and ready to really get back in the game and really be set well as they go forward.
Well, they typically have jobs and so on and so forth, but when the market went sour, people got laid off or they had some kind of medical problem, or they just couldn't afford to.
Welcome to today's game-changing
And
moment.
what about commercial real estate?
I have to tell you, commercial real estate's really getting stronger right now. I'm starting to get a lot more calls.
A lot of calls. Wanting space, aren't they?
Either to lease or to buy.
Or to buy.
Yeah.
That's good to hear, because unless you have some jobs creating some sort of income, people will not be able to be smart real estate consumers and buy houses and sell and move up and do all those kind of things that we talk about.
I think people have a little more confidence maybe to start a business and to see an economy that's kind of on the rebound and stabilizing, gives them some more hope maybe to get back in the game, or if they've been waiting to open a small business and get that rolling.
We see a lot of that happening. I'm getting a lot of calls for that.
We're almost out of time. Southern Oregon's Got Talent. You got about 30 seconds.
Coming down the pipe, we're going to be live at the fairgrounds this year for auditions on stage.
At the fair?
At the fair.
Okay.
3 5-hour section day, 3 5-hour days, and we'll have some of the previous talent come out and play, and then we'll take auditions for new folks for that.
Live auditions at the fair. That's good. That'll be a fun one. All right. Good luck with that, of course. Bob Gervais, Southern Oregon's Got Talent. That'll do it for the real estate show today. Kristen, nice to meet you. Good luck to you. Well, you keep up the good work with teaching those agents like Joe. They need that. They need to learn all of that. Bob, we'll see you as well, and I guess you go back to basketball. I know you can't wait to go.
A few games to watch.
All right, that'll do it. Have a great week, everybody. God bless. We'll see you next Saturday here on KMED.